Alright, guys. So, this next Patreon request comes from Captain Vern Lunar, who asked me to do a crossover that we could honestly see. Like, this is a crossover that we could definitely see in the near future from Marvel, if they want money. And that is a crossover between Venom and Alien. And sidebar, Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman have talked about there's a secret project they're working on. I'm just saying, like, it could be that. Could be a Venom Alien crossover by Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. You know, the people I really want. Well, not to say Kennedy Johnson's Alien run at Marvel hasn't been really good. It's actually been really good. I'm just saying, like, a Donny Cates writing Alien would be pretty fucking awesome. I'm just throwing that out there. It could be the tits. I'm just throwing that out there. It could be the legit tits. Anyway, so as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this, and let's get started. So the story is that this takes place, I guess you could say, like, during the Donny Cates run, somewhere, like, the thing is like the Donny Cates run is like really tight knit, so I would say like this is right before Venom Beyond. Like, this is right before the Venom Beyond story where they go to that alternate Earth and encounter like Codex, who is like an alternate version of Eddie Brock's son Dylan. And in here, what happens basically is that there is the symbiote feels like this call, the symbiote feels like this call and says that like their others have been killed, like there are other symbiotes that have been killed and they're out in space. So Venom is like, okay, why does that bother us? I mean, that could be Null and we know he's on his way. And he's like, no, this was something else. This was something more predatory. Like, this is like a predator. Like, this is our, like, whatever these creatures are, it feels like they're the natural predator to us. So Venom is like, well, can you tell me what they are? He's like, I never met, like, the symbiote's like, I never met them, like, I never encountered them, but in our race, like, they were resistant to us. Like, they could resist our symbiosis. They could resist our, they could resist our control, like our bonding with us, and actually could hurt us. And if they get on Earth, it's gonna be like game over. So the symbiote's like, I feel the distress call way out there in space, and he's like, okay. Next question, jackass. How do I get up there? Like, how do we get up there in space? So Venom is like, the symbiote's like, well, aren't we in good graces with the rest of the heroes of this universe? And he's like, yeah, I guess that's one way of putting it. So he goes to the Fantastic Four, because at this point in Donny Cates' run, Venom could just do that. Like, he could just go to the Avengers and Fantastic Four and be like, I need to borrow a ship. And Reed Richards is admittedly like, Eddie Brock, Venom needs a ship. And he's like, I just need there's something out in space, I need to check it out. Can I just go? Like, I will go, or you can find a way to shoot me into these coordinates and then pull me back. And the symbiote, and Reed Richards is like, okay, do you want the shouldn't the Fantastic Four come with you? And he's like, this is symbiote business. And Reed is like, all right, but if you need us, the Fantastic Four, we're gonna be here. Like, we'll be here when you need us. And he's like, thanks, Reed. So instead of giving him a ship, because Reed Richards isn't that stupid, what happens is that Reed gives him he's been working on a new system for short-range space travel. Essentially what it is that it's going to slingshot Eddie to the coordinates that the symbiote told him, like the rough space of where it is, and he's also gonna be given a emergency, like, teleportation unit to slingshot him back. It's like a rubber band kind of teleportation device. And he's like, the thing is like, it's a prototype, so you only get one trip in, one trip out. Don't fucking waste it, okay? So yeah, so Eddie gets shot there into space, and he ends up in the thankfully in the location of this derelict ship, and it's been beaten to hell. So Eddie's going. So Venom is going around looking through the ship, and he sees like burn marks and dead people, dead people left and right. And he does see that the people did have symbiote bonded to them. He did see that symbiotes were bonded to them, and the symbiotes are just dead now. And the host, the symbiote host, had another parasite apparently, and it busted out of them. And Eddie's first thought is, you think it's the Brood? Because that's a logical explanation. That's actually would be a logical thing, is that the Brood are already are xenomorphs to begin with, so it would stand to reason that maybe, and Eddie, Eddie's never faced the Brood, but I'm pretty sure he would know from his encounters with the X-Men and whatnot, and their attacks on Earth. He would be like, could it be those things called the Brood? Wouldn't that be the most logical explanation here? And he's like, no, it's not the Brood, it's something more ancient. That's what the symbiote tells him. So Eddie's looking around, and he does see that whatever it was is killing these symbiote hosts, and that's when he encounters his first xenomorph. And these xenomorphs are flocking in packs. So Venom fights xenomorphs left and right, and I'd love to have a scene where he's fighting one of the xenomorphs, and he has his tongue out, and the xenomorph uses its tongue to grab the Venom tongue and rip it out of his mouth. And that's oh my, that would be a thing. That would be something, if I could do this as a legit crossover, I would totally do. Is just that moment where they're colliding and the tongue meets tongue, and he just rips it out of his mouth. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Are we gonna get symbiote xenomorphs? No, because that's too easy. I'm sure, like I said, if this becomes a real crossover between Venom and Alien, I guarantee you we would get symbiote xenomorphs, symbomorphs. We would definitely get that, but not for this one. Not for this story. I'm having it more that the xenomorphs are dangerous enough on their own, because that's how they are. They're dangerous enough on their own to be considered a big enough threat. So Venom fights his way through them, and even the acid is burning him. He's acid doesn't burn, it's fire and Sonics. This acid they have for blood is burning the symbiote away. By this point, it's that point when three other symbiote hosts arrive to join the fight, and it turns out that these guys are the last survivors of the attack on the ship. So they get Venom away, and they're like, so where did you come from? He's like, I came to find you. Who are you people? These symbiotes are more or less religious. They are a part of a religious sect who worship symbiotes. Not Null. They don't worship Null. They worship the symbiotes and believe in unity. So these people willingly went to Clintar and willingly bonded with symbiotes to find a perfect union with them. However, during their travels, they came across a colony that had been attacked, and they found several survivors. And what they didn't realize is this colony was attacked by xenomorphs, and they had the things attacked. They peeled the facehuggers off, but didn't realize that there was parasites within them. The xenomorphs busted out, fights ensued, and the blood from the xenomorphs burned away a lot of their symbiotes and killed them within. So now it's just a all-out fight to survive, and they're the last three survivors. And Venom tells them, "We are Venom, and we are going to save you." But how do we get off this ship? Because here's another thing that's going on: the ship's system has malfunctioned. Their engines have malfunctioned, and they're drifting through space now, and they're getting really close to the orbit of a wayward star. That's not good for anyone, because the heat from the sun coming closer and closer to the ship is actually harming the symbiotes, including Venom. So Venom has to get these people out of here, but he doesn't have a transport for all of them. So he's like, does this ship have teleporters? And he's like, or some kind of escape vessel? And they're like, yeah, but the thing of it is that it's blocked off. Like, we can't get to it. We cannot we can't get to it because, and we've tried. The symbiotes are these people with their own symbiotes. Their ship does have escape pods. Problem is, there's a nest in between there, and they tried to get there, and they were like, there was 8 of us before. There were 8 survivors, and we tried that plan before of getting to the escape pods, and we lost about 5 other people to do it. So Venom just tells them straight up, tells these 3 other people, like, well, that's our only option now. So, and he's like, oh, we couldn't do it with 8, but now we can do it with 4. And he's like, no, you can do it with 3 symbiotes and Venom. Because Venom would say something so edgelord like that. Anyway, so the 4 of them, so Eddie and the 3, so Venom and the 3 survivors fight their way through the ship's through the hive of xenomorphs. And and Venom is asking the other ones, like, do you guys know what these things are? And he's like, we don't have a name for them. The Starways have called them the Xenomorphs, but they were children of a lost race. Like, it's always like these legends of these giants who created them, and they were the demonic children of these engineers. Kind of like playing into Prometheus in a way, like a little bit of Prometheus lore into this. So they fight their way through it, and of course, there's the fucking Queen. Like the only way to get to the hangar and get to the escape ships is through the Queen, who's made her nest there, and Venom's like, fucking course. So this is where you get the part where Venom just jumps in and just fights the Xenomorph Queen while the survivors get in the ship. And during the fight, Venom takes the little device Reed gave him and puts it on he resets the coordinates real quick. He has the symbiote. Eddie has the symbiote reset the coordinates real quick, and what he does is jam it into the Queen's head and teleports her out of the ship and into the cold recess of space, and is melted by the sun. So the refugees get away, but Eddie is left on the ship with the now angry xenomorphs. With now the angry nest of queenless xenomorphs. And he's just ready to fight. The sun's coming in. The symbiote connection is weakening, and Eddie and the symbiote are like, well, at least hopefully Peter will take care of Dylan. Everything will be all right, and we'll die. We will die as we always lived together. About that time, that's when, just as everything is about to hit the fan, what happens is that the ship begins to fall apart, and Eddie fights his way to find one more ship. He gets out, but he's just left floating through space. Kind of like Ripley did, and he's left floating through space for weeks. The symbiote puts him in hibernation until Venom is found by the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're like, what is he doing here? So the Guardians of the Galaxy take Venom back to Earth, where he's woken up. He reunites with Dylan, and he's like, "What?" And the Fantastic Four and Avengers are like, "What'd you find up there?" And he said, "Nightmares. That's what I found up there." Meanwhile, Venom Eddie and the symbiote wonder what happened to the refugees. Turns out they escaped. They got away. But one of them goes, man, I'm not feeling good. And then, boom, chestbuster. Just end on a fuck you note. Because, of course, it's Alien. So there you go, guys. There is my Venom Alien crossover. I'd like to thank Captain Vern Lunar for the Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. And like I said, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon. You guys hit the 4th tier, where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on Patreon. But like I said before, this could be a crossover that actually happens, which I would love to see. And you guys tell me in the comments below, how would you do a Venom Alien crossover, and what did you guys think of this crossover? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. It's a crossover we could see, and I hope to see. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.